Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the People's Platform, PRAP, the People's Right Advocacy Platform. I am Capo Daniel, your chairman. We want to bring to you a big development that happened in Russia, between the war of Russia and Ukraine, that have struck a nerve across the globe and resonate especially for Africans who are going through dictatorship, where governments practice enforced disappearance, torture, judicial intimidation, and all types of war crimes, even in peaceful time in Africa. Cameroon in particular, to an extent Nigeria in East Africa with Museveni and many other places around the globe. So Vladimir Putin, who launched a war against Ukraine, have made a video yesterday, which I want to share with you. And for the first time since the beginning of this war, Vladimir Putin have said that he is willing to halt hostility against Ukraine in demand for amnesty. So for the first time since the invasion began, Putin has publicly admitted that he is willing to halt hostility. I'm going to bring the video to you shortly. I cannot interpret word to word, but I've used other tools to do the interpretation for myself. And I want to share with you this very impactful message of hope for all Africans who are going through dictatorship. But not only he has demanded that Ukraine should withdraw from territories that Moscow claims ownership over. And in the same breath, Vladimir Putin lamented and said that he is confused, that he did not expect that the United States of America would impose sanctions against major Russian company. Nevertheless, I will play the videos for you to watch it. But the most important thing in this video that you are going to watch is the fact that Vladimir Putin, for the first time since this war started, publicly stated that he is willing to halt hostility and put an end to the war. And in demand, he demanded for amnesty. So I want you to watch the video, and I'm going to come back with commentaries.
Украину уйдут из занимаемых ими территорий, вот тогда и прекратятся боевые действия. Не уйдут, мы добьемся этого вооруженным путем.
So, ladies and gentlemen, what you have just watched is not just a political statement. It is a moment of fear, a moment of panic that is unexpected. We all know Vladimir Putin is running the second most powerful nation in the world. Russia is a very powerful country that possesses the most devastating nuclear weapons and is capable alone to destroy the whole planet Earth as we know it. But this video shows an unexpected vulnerability from a man, Vladimir Putin, who have built an image of an iron dictator. Somebody, when you criticize him, you disappear, or you jump over the window, or like Prigozhin did, his plane simply had some malfunction. People who have criticized the president of Putin have find themselves in very precarious situation. And why, for the first time, you see Vladimir Putin making such statement, it's a lesson for Africa. It is the consequences of war crimes that are chasing after him. Remember that Vladimir Putin have an arrest warrant. The president of Russia has an arrest warrant against his name. So it's important for Africa to understand this dynamic, because we have leaders that have made themselves to seem as if they are God, they are untouchable, and people follow them to commit war crimes. Not long ago, Russia quietly sent a proposal through Donald Trump and his emissaries demanding for amnesty. Yes, Vladimir Putin demanding for amnesty for Russia, for Vladimir Putin himself and other officials in his administration and military members for committing atrocity in Ukraine. These are the records that the United Nations have stated. There have been mass killing in Ukraine, deliberate by the Russian military. There have been forced deportation of children from Ukraine into Russia and spreading those children in Russians' households. There have been destruction of civilian towns and cities unnecessarily without any military objective. There have been unlawful execution of Ukrainian troops that are captured and disarmed. There have been systemic use of torture. These are the allegations that the ICJ have brought against Vladimir Putin, a named member of his administration. The request that Vladimir Putin have made for amnesty is not showing a position of strength. It is a cry of a man who is fearing the courtroom. One of the most powerful men in the world. In his heart, he's afraid to go to prison. He's afraid for the possibility that he may be tried or arrested someday for war crimes he has committed. And this is a big lesson to whisper that the regime in Moscow is finally realizing that there will be a day of reckoning. There will be a day of reckoning, even as powerful as Putin is. So if you're in Africa and you think that your dictator is too strong, is too powerful, and you can go ahead to do whatever you want to do to please him, committing atrocity. When a leader who once saw himself as untouchable begins to negotiate his own immunity, it should send a loud and powerful message to the world and to Africa and to Cameroon, to Paul Atanganji, Ferdinand Gongo, Felix Mbayu, all those who have high position in the Cameroon military who go out there to attack civilians who are protesting, that no matter how strong the dictator is, or the regime is, or how they think they are, one day, they too will face justice. Who could ever think that Saddam Hussein could face justice in his own country, or Omar Bashir could be in prison in Sudan? So this is a message to all African strong men, strong leaders, dictators, even the good ones, that we see them abusing their civilians, attacking opponents. To every dictator in Africa, especially Paul Biya, Museveni, and the rest, who have tormented their people, suppressed democracy, killed innocent civilians, jailed political dissidents, burned down villages, stolen public funds, and destroyed the dreams of generational thefts. They should listen carefully. And listen, if Vladimir Putin, the second strongest man in the world, can be worried about his own accountability, you too should be worried. And for all their collaborators and people in government officials who use their position to carry out atrocity and violate human rights, thinking because the dictator is strong, you should be worried. If the architecture of one of the world's most brutal modern war, Vladimir Putin, is now seeking for amnesty, what about those who have butchered their own people under the cover of darkness in Africa? The international court will one day hear your case. Look at in Gambia, Yaya Jammeh, who could think that even women that he raped could ever come to court. So, those who are using state forces against civilians in Bamenda, in Garoua, Marwa, Boya, Kumba, Douala, and even beyond, who send military men, military commanders, DOs, SDO, who execute people, send soldiers to arrest people because they don't like them, because they don't agree with them, because they demand their right. What about tyrants who manipulate elections, imprison dissenters, and looted the nation into poverty across Africa? Do not be fooled. The world is changing, fast changing. Dynamics are changing. The age of impunity is fast dying. The instability with the current war order will not last for long, and the day of reckoning is fast coming. So if Vladimir Putin is demanding for amnesty, check about yourself. Stop the dictatorship. Stop torturing our people. Paul Biya and the dictators in Africa, President Paul Biya of Cameroon, and every leader that has built a dynasty of fear must take note and look at what is happening across Africa. Look at the accountability of Omar Bongo, the wife. Everything has been laid upon. Nothing can be hidden under the sun. For decades, African dictators have relied on the belief that nothing will ever happen to them or their family members and those who kill people on their behalf, including in Syria. But somehow, some way, nothing is hidden under the sun. Justice always prevails. That war is too, they think the world is too distracted. They can blindfold the war. That international law is too weak and that their crimes will remain buried in silence and that nobody cares. They think that they are almighty, they can do and undo. But today, even Vladimir Putin of all people, is standing at the door of accountability, demanding that he also wants amnesty before he can do anything. So, this is not just a warning, it is a prophecy I am giving that Judgment Day will come to all the dictators and all those who are using government powers and offices to murder, torture, excessive use of force against their civilians. The day of accountability will come, and that day will meet you when we are still alive. Cameroonians who have demanded, what have they done to deserve the fraud, rigging of election, corruption in high places? What have they done to deserve the bad road, despite all the resources God has given them? I want to tell them that nobody stays in power forever. No dynasty will last for more than 40 years. It might have lasted a little bit more than that. Nobody escapes natural justice forever. Not in Russia, not in Africa, definitely not in Cameroon, not in Uganda, not in Nigeria, not in the DRC of Congo, not in Sudan. A new war is emerging, and Vladimir Putin's know it. Consensus are being built internationally. There is a global awakening taking place. Citizens are rising, institutions are strengthening, international courts are becoming bolder. Victims are documented. Every crime, every killing, every torture, every disappearance is being recorded and being monitored. Eventually, the day of reckoning will come. Technology has ended the age of secrecy, the age of blindness. Every atrocity recorded, reckoning will come. Every victim will have a voice. Every dictator has a fire. And one day they will open that fire. God bless you all.